Gwan, are you there? What's good? And you know who this is, baby. The number one podcast in America, dedicated to all you kings and queens of color, homies and homettes, shotters, woo gals, G-boys, and charges. The one and only Jerk Jollof and Collard Greens podcast.
Wagwan, are you there? What's good? And you're now tuning in to part 2 of our discussion. Let's talk about sex, baby. And we're going to start it off right where we left off on myth of the female orgasm and legends of the great black dingus. So let's talk about it. And joining us today, returning, we have the Thoughtful Angels themselves, and all thoughtfulness coming out here, shining radiant as always. Rena and Nigel Red, how are you ladies doing today?
Good.
Awesome. And returning our bonus guest, Nay with Feelings, the online thrift store that you got to check out today. Nay, how you feeling today?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Awesome. And of course, we have the JJC panel, my brothers in Bond, Drake, Chunky, and Francis. We are -1, but we're just as strong. Brother D Black couldn't join us today, but we're with you in spirit. We're sending all of our sexual power to you, my brother, out there, wherever you are. You're out there killing it.
Speak for yourself. I'm not sending no sexual power to anyone.
I'm sending all of my sexual power to him.
Oh,
Good. You'll send it.
Receive
on my
it,
behalf.
my cousin. Receive it.
Embrace it.
Wherever you slay, whenever you slay good. That's what we hope out there right now. All right, so ladies, let's jump into it. Have you ever had an orgasm? Like, I mean, a 100% real, not get off of me, I'm done orgasm, but yes, my toes are curling, tears are coming out of my eyes. I'm not sure if that's how it goes for women, but I'm just assuming, So
It seems like you've never given a woman one if you don't know how it works.
well, I mean that could be your point too, but I've seen the
Fighting words.
It could be different for everyone. It could be different for everyone.
Shots fired.
I've made partners cry during sex.
I would have left that last part out. Just said what you had to say. Man, you just left it open for me to take advantage of it.
Nah, it's all good. It's ebb and flow.
Chunky, Glenn is Jamaican, okay? You know he let us
that's
know.
all we do.
I don't understand. I don't understand what that means. Like,
I don't know.
The power is in the Jamaican beef patty, huh?
Exactly. It's in the curry. It's in the jerk too. You know what I mean? We have so many different tonics for sex. There's no way a Jamaican man is not sexually equipped at this point. You can go to the store and buy a sexual tonic. Everything we drink is for sexual potency at this point. But I will say this, I'm not gonna front like I'm the connoisseur of orgasms. Like I do what I do in the bedroom. I aim to please. That's my thing. But I want to hear it from the ladies. Like, give us the 411. Have you ever had an orgasm? And let's start off with Rena on this. I like picking on Rena.
you know clearly. You no, I have. Yeah, no, he wasn't no good. I want to have a conversation with his mother because why? But I mean, it didn't happen till later on, and I think I definitely had like a damn, I'm late to the party type moment. But I think you kind of just hit the nail on the head, like full 100. When you just had a little versus when you had like the real thing. Like, there's no mistaking about that. So I think as a woman, us just learning our tip peaks in sex. Yeah, yes, Lord. I know that's probably wrong to call him the Lord, but yeah. Definitely so. I think my biggest pet peeve with sex though is the fact that, and this once again goes into choice, I've probably chosen the wrong men because it's been very rare or few times that I've actually encountered a memorable orgasm, and that's horrible. Like, as a woman, like we should always get ours. Like, that's just like it's a rule. Like, I get mine, you get yours, but like if not anything, I should definitely get mine. And yeah, no, that's the ghetto-ness of it all, I guess.
Let's see if anyone else co-signs to your theory on that. Is it all fair in sex? Nigel Red, what's your take? Orgasms. Should you get yours and he get his, or is it just like no go?
You
Have you ever had one?
except for if that's just not the name of your game that particular day, and like your focus is solely pleasing your partner. Otherwise, it should be we both get off. Like, what am I, a machine? No, it don't work like that. We all have needs. We all have things that we need to get, and that's how wandering eyes start, consistently being left in the dark. Which, if men rely solely on pornography for what they're supposed to do in the bedroom, that's what a lot of their sexual experiences are going to be, because porn is geared towards men, which is a whole different conversation. However, like, it should be for everybody.
Hey, any last comments on that on behalf of the ladies?
Yes to having orgasms. Hell yes. Hell yes. Hell yes. Hell yes.
Immensus.
Yes, like yes, it's a thing. At this age, because I'm not, because it's not as freely, I don't want the freely accessible sex anymore. I'm sorry, trying not to cough here. I think that now is more so for the experience, because I think what a lot of times happen, I know for me, I go into it thinking that I'm going to bust a nut, I'm going to orgasm, and then when it doesn't happen, I am so focused on that not happening that I didn't even take the experience in and enjoy myself. So now I'm at the point where it's just like, I'm more so of an experience type of person. If it's fun, if I'm digging you, it's fun. You touching all the places I like, I'm touching all the places you like. We don't necessarily have to orgasm. As long as the experience is good, then I'm good. So, but if I do orgasm, yay, but for the most part, at this day and age, I'm more so for the experience. If we come, we come. If we don't, then as long as we had a good time, that's it.
I guess I could speak before I lend it up. Go ahead, Nigel.
Can a good time be had without like somebody coming though?
Yes.
Okay.
Again, all from experience.
Not for the guys.
I if the guy doesn't, I'd be like,
usually yes, but I mean, it's those situations where you're getting the soft serve. So unfortunately, the build up to you doing it was good, but you just had soft serve, so you was just out here just letting all the kids be having fun instead of having fun for yourself. So like in that case, yeah, the foreplay was fun, the foreplay was good. We just didn't finish it because situations, or if I gotta say how it does it because it ain't working. Like whatever happens, but like the build up for it was good. So.
Oh, I just one bonus question. All right, go ahead, Rena, and then I go to the bonus question.
Go ahead.
All right, so every time you ladies have had sex with a guy, he's always climaxed? Is that what's being said? Like, he's always climaxed. There's never been a time where, okay, you're giving head for like 2 hours and this dude just won't budge. Like, it's like there's never been. Sometimes some guys can just be difficult. You know what I mean? Definitely not as high as women, but sometimes dudes can be difficult too.
I'm definitely not whopping for no 2 hours.
Boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy.
You got to do your part. You just got to do your part.
Yeah, man.
Get in there, champ. It's
there
at 2 hour and 1 minute mark.
Moisture is the key.
There have been times, but I can count on my hands. But those times that have happened that it doesn't happen, I'm like, so what happened? You okay? Are you okay? Did you drink your water today? Like, is everything?
You make it sound like these are like old men. like 50s. Did you have your vitamins this morning? No, that could be it.
Yeah. What if it was multiple rounds, man? Maybe sometimes by some of the later rounds, you may just not be able to,
That's different.
Before he got to her.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say there are
sometimes you gotta clean the pipe before you go.
Yeah, sometimes there's instances where
dangerous game.
Yeah, maybe multiple rounds.
Oh boy.
I feel like it's probably I really maybe a one-off. I feel like my issue probably is like tap out queen, like making them tap out too quick, and it's like they looking at me like sorry, and so it's like that awkward kind of back and forth eye banter. But yeah, no, as far as not, maybe like a one-off.
Like a Ronda Rousey of the box.
I know.
Like, oh,
She's like, make them tap out quick.
This is why the McDonald's machine always broke at night, you know.
Oh
right,
boy.
so, since we're focused on the ladies, can we talk about faking it then? Like, you ever had to fake it just so you can make it out of the situation? And let's start off with Nay on this one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, hell yeah. Like in my 20s, that's all I was doing because I didn't know what it was. It wasn't until I got into my 30s that I knew what an orgasm was. Like Raina said, I was late to the party. I was out here like, oh, that happens. Oh, that's for real. Oh, I can do that too. Okay, bet. So like in my 20s, I was just out here just making noise. Like honestly, nobody does porn moans for real, for real. So I was just out here just making noise and thinking that it was a good thing. And so yeah, it's fake for me.
Man, that's crazy.
That sucks. I'm not, so I don't want to be completely rude, but like I got a direct question. So you saying have you not experienced it with someone else? Have you not experienced it at all?
I've experienced it. I'm saying like in my earlier years, because I wasn't sure of what it was, how it felt, because I wasn't sure of my body. I'm going to say that it was a fake because what I know to be an orgasm now is not what I was getting before. So before I'm thinking like, okay, you just going in and out is the thing. It's not. That's not a thing. It's other things that go with that. So now I'm aware of my body. I'm aware of how sex feels. I'm aware of an orgasm. So I ain't going to fake it now. I'm going to just be like, all right, this is my face.
Do you
Like,
think
okay.
women should be educated to that extent? Like, serious question. It's just like, is there a benefit to say like, hey, here's like a technical sex ed 201 or 301. This is what's supposed to happen. This is how it happens. There's no shame in it, but the more and better you understand it, you'll get better results at the end of the day, which is more satisfactory for you.
I think yes. I don't want to say it should be a learning phase because you get. I don't know how to word it, but women should know their body. Masturbation for me, I think is very important because if you don't know what you like, how can you direct somebody else to do what you like? If you don't know what buttons to press, how can you tell somebody else to press a button? So for me, yes, you must know your body. That's how you can determine like, that's not it. That's the stink. That's not the pink. You know what I mean? Like you can tell, you can do certain things. Like some women don't like. I hear a lot of women talking about I don't like this, I don't like that, but they've done it one time. They didn't like it that one time and never ventured at it again. So how you know you like it if you only had it one time with a bad experience and never tried it again? So you got to learn your body in order to know what you like during sex, to enjoy it.
Let's hear from another lady. That's like just Dre had something you want to drop on there.
I was more just going to ask. So I've always been told by the women in my life that, that sometimes it's like it's not always like sometimes it may be like a mental block. Sometimes it may not always happen, right? There may always be kind of things going on. So, I guess the one thing is, I guess, just kind of, do you expect for it to happen every time? I guess is a question that I have for you, for all the women. Okay, see, you guys got to speak because we can't. Our listeners can't hear you. I feel like I'm getting mixed. I feel like I got a full mixed reaction.
I say no, not every time. I would like to get off every time, but like I don't expect like a full body orgasm, mainly because I know what my full body orgasm is like, and I cannot function every day doing that. but like I don't expect to just nothing happen every single time. No.
I was gonna say Rena was very animated on the mute button, so I feel like we need to hear your answer.
Gotta deliver now, Rena.
We gotta hear your thoughts.
I would love, yes, every freaking time, but I just know that's like asking for my fries to be hot every single time, or asking for,
Oh man.
Or if you
Yeah,
put
you said
Chick-fil-A, the fries will
the
be
D
hot
is
every
fast
time.
food.
but they only come hot because I asked for no salt. But that's a whole nother story. Like it's always some type of change, but nevertheless, I feel like me personally, like I don't know if this is like trauma bond, but like I've never squirted before. So like I usually tell men that, and I feel like they take it as a challenge, like, damn, now I gotta make her squirt. And it's like you disappointed because it's still so it's like I think they go above and beyond when that happens, because it's like now they have a point to prove. But I mean, at this point in the game, like Nate said, I'm not faking shit. Like it's just not happening. You're clearly gonna see it on my face. I hate it here, and it's just like miserable death. Like
That's
we talked about this recently.
How do you think we feel? So it's like you just gotta sit there and take it and be like. And I think sometimes I get it. Men just want to get theirs, so they do what they have to do until they get theirs, and it's just like, get off me. Like it's like really one of those. Annoyed at this point, but at this point we're too old to be faking anything, so it's like
I guess would it be safe to say that not everyone can do everything, right? Like I guess in the sense that some women can squirt, which I think is actually women peeing on the guys, but that's another
it depends on who.
Don't believe everything you see on the YouTube machine now. That could be
on YouTube.
Whoa,
what YouTube are you watching?
You can find anything.
A lot of things.
Red tube. I feel like red tube.
Thanks for the correction.
I'll say the Google.
What's that?
All right, don't believe everything you see. On
okay, Francis.
Incognito window.
Legit,
Francis.
I don't know what red tube is.
Go ahead and Google it right
Incognito window.
Later.
Suddenly.
I'm like, if you're married, you probably watch me. Probably. It's a good chance. I'm pretty sure they took the stats. The majority of them users are married. All right, so let's jump into that then. If there's so many different caveats for women, because I think for men it's pretty simple, but some men can be difficult too, from what I've heard, and from my own personal experiences, from times where it's just like, yo, this is not happening. But with that said, with the orgasms being a hit or miss, do women actually enjoy sex? Like, is there any enjoyment for the ladies when it comes to sex?
I love good sex. Like, I can.
Wait, who loves horrible sex?
What? But it's like, okay, as I get older, I used to be very much a person that could go like a long period of time without sex. But like the older I get and the more intimate I am with my partner, like I enjoy that connection that sex brings, and everything else that comes with it is like plus. So I actually do enjoy sex. I did not for a very long time, honestly, but now I do.
I think for me, as I'm getting older and I'm tapping more with my spirituality, like, yeah, I love sex, but it's like soul ties really scare me. So it's like sometimes, like I said before, we as women just like do things because we be so digmatized, and it's like we probably shouldn't be dealing with said person, but it's like their sex is so good that I'm gonna stick beside them, like one of those type things. And it's like, we know good and damn well we shouldn't. So you gotta kind of, figure out, is there such thing as good or bad sex, or healthy sex, so to speak. And I just feel like it's easy to have sex with anybody, but if it means nothing and it's just sex, for all that, I could just go get a toy. Like me and Tokyo Valentine could really run it up and have a date. But yeah, no, I'm not just gonna be having sex with any and everybody. So it's like, I guess unless, I really come to a point where I just have that partner where I truly enjoy their sex and, it's good all the way around the board, I really feel like I'm getting to a point where I don't know if that's asexual or what the correct term would be, but yeah, it's like, I think I'm excited for sex, and then when it finally happens, I'll just be like, ugh, I really don't want to do this. So I don't know. I feel I'm at a weird point with sex right now. It's like I do, but I don't. Ask me how I feel on Friday.
Yeah, so you dropped a couple buzzwords there. I think you said soul tying, stigmatized, but one particular Tokyo Valentine.
Yeah, what's Tokyo Valentine? What's that about?
Fellas, let me tell you, Tokyo Valentine, first of all, there's Cheshire Bridge, Tokyo Valentine. There's Northside Tokyo. It's a sex
They don't
store.
live in Atlanta, girl.
Yeah,
we are.
Oh, yeah.
Girl.
We should just knew. We should have just knew what like I know all.
Hey, fellas.
I'm like, is that a new? Is that a new toy that I need
location,
to
I'm
find
like,
out
The
about?
toy name.
Because you said
We
I
need
could
a
go with
thrift.
Tokyo Valentine. I thought it was like a device. Or
Toy,
something.
yeah.
No,
I
it's
mean-
a sex shop here in Atlanta. They have
Okay.
like locations.
Mm.
So
Oh,
like
okay.
Starship is everywhere. Like Tokyo Valentine is like a step above Starship with like nicer things, and
Yeah.
like a lot of the strippers shop there too for like different outfits and shoes and stuff.
Nice
'Cause
as in quality.
Atlanta.
Mhm.
I mean, I have never personally purchased from Tokyo. So
Like, what's the Christian Grey? What's the series?
50 Shades.
50
Shades
Shades.
Yeah.
Grey.
Tokyo Valentine has a whole like 50 Shades collection. I'm talking dungeons, witch chains, like the whole stuff. They got the little bed strap shit. Like,
Can you
Tokyo-
order stuff offline?
girl? Oh,
Probably.
I'm sure you can.
Okay, so this episode's Rep Yours is dedicated to
To Tokyo Valentine. If you don't know, just Google it.
I mean,
to get that sponsorship. Tokyo Valentine. Woo!
seriously. But I mean, let's be real. A lot of men aren't really going to sex shops. Like, and I mean, I've never been to I've been to a sex shop for the kicks and giggles of it. Like, oh, look, I'm in a sex shop. You know what I mean? But I never really went there with the intent to actually purchase. And I think that also speaks magnitudes to the sexual experiences between men and women and how they vary, to where for satisfaction, you may have to supplement with a toy because you cannot rely on a guy to provide that to make that happen, right? Yes or no?
True, but like, do guys not like toys?
I mean, is that a
Men
race
are
thing too?
intimidated.
I think some men don't.
Yeah, I don't want to
for
like
myself, I don't
generalize
mind.
and say men are all intimidated, but a lot of men are intimidated by toys being brought into the bedroom.
Is it a race thing, like black men, or is it just men in general?
I mean, I don't want to say unfortunately, but unfortunately, I've only dated black men, so I don't know what any
Any other
other race
races?
of men.
Well,
let's Google that and find out.
Let's ask the group. Let's ask the group. Are you guys against toys?
For me, I
now.
don't have any issue with it. I mean, I think whatever gets the job done that day, you know, I'm cool with it. You know, I think from my side, I'm fairly open about that. Again, I don't. I think I've been open to things that my wife has suggested and not been like, obviously. We talked about pegging on the last one. That is one I'm not open to under any circumstances. But any other thing that that comes up that she's interested in. I mean, I've even like seen stuff online and just ordered it and just like gave it to my wife and like, look, let's see what this is about, right? So I think I've been very open to that. I don't have any stigma. I know there are some men who feel kind of some type of way about it. I've had conversations with some of my other friends about it. But it doesn't bother me at all. I think it's whatever. At the end of the day, right? It's about the pleasure of both people, and if that's gonna do the job for my wife, like cool. Like I'm not gonna feel offended by some object, right? That's battery powered or whatever. Like nothing's gonna take my job.
Are there parameters with toys then? Like, what if the dildo is like yay big and yay?
Then pass
big?
it to me. Is this the biggest one?
Yeah.
I'll be that motherfucker like
There's
Luke Skywalker.
And I feel like I try it, right?
mommy
Like,
log.
I feel like I should just try it, right? Like, what if something really, like, what if that really does it for her, right? To me, it's kind of like I don't feel like I'll go into it with any. I'm willing to try those type of things one time, right? Yes, on the theory of it, that seems really weird. If there is some massive thing, but I know that I think I'd be open. Rena, I feel like you had a question or comment.
as men, is it some type of masculation to handcuff you? Like, if don't laugh. Like, if I wanted to like role play, but like,
No, that's not. Yeah, man, lock me up. You know,
If
lock me
it's,
up.
it's just a safety violation. I
That's
just
a
don't
lot
feel
of trust
comfortable if the
there.
house burns down. I
Lot of
can't get out
trust.
in time.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
yeah. For
I
me,
mean,
for me,
full
it's
I
no
can
disclosure-
care
issue.
less. I can care less.
Yeah.
It's not the first time I've been in handcuffs. Like, I'm a black dude, you know the statistics, so it's not like, oh my goodness. It's just like, if that's what makes you happy, that's what makes you
Yes,
happy.
on a bike.
dang,
what?
when you put it like that though, like, dang, now I don't think I'm handcuffed. Like,
The whole trauma sense.
Yeah, there's a
now,
whole
so
other
that-
trauma. Yeah, we had
Trauma.
another topic. I mean,
So, what? No trauma
Yeah, yeah,
here.
go-
It's just like whatever.
Right.
Like, if that's like, it's not a big deal. So it's just like, so we talk about that preference, right? So it's just like, it's not demasculating at all. It's just like, oh, if you're into role play, that's something you do. If you're not into it, then that person doesn't do it. But I don't think masculinity has anything to do with it. I think it's just like safety. Like, now I'm restricted and I have to trust you. If I don't trust you, then I'm going to have a problem. But if I trust you, yeah, you can handcuff me to the ceiling and let me dangle for 30 minutes. Like, whatever.
Francis, what's your
That's right.
take, bro?
No, I was gonna say, like, personally, I've never, for full disclosure, I've never used toy before. But actually, funny enough, my wife and I did talk about that recently. So, but I'm open to it. It's something that I'm open to, but like there are limit to Dre's comment. There are some things I would not do. But as far as like, bringing like vibrator into the bedroom or whatever, I'm open to trying that out. I'm not opposing, to it if it's something my wife and I agree to. But in the past, there's nothing, I've never really thought about it, just like to the comment earlier about like even women, like, you guys come in like during sex. When I was younger, I was very definitely, I would say I was selfish because I didn't understand what a true, ejaculation looks like from a woman perspective. So like for me, when I was doing my deed, yes, it was really when I come, then it's like I think that was it, but now that I'm older and I know like what it means for a woman to actually get her, her pleasure as well. There's a lot more emphasis that you have to put into it, where like before you really just kind of think about your dick, right? So yeah, it's just something that comes with growth. With growth.
You just said that's so funny, man. Sorry, I'm still immature, man.
Yeah, boys, I just wanted to be like for full disclosure because like there are men, it is what it is. They just out here just slinging and not really thinking too much about.
So I got a question for you, Fran. Yeah. As intellectual as you are, it never crossed your mind, and it's not to be offensive to sit there like, hey, let me sit there and like ask the question, like, how was it for you? Let me take some notes down. Let me do better next time. Like you have a big brain. Like you're very successful in what you do. So it's interesting in a realm like that. You don't dissect it. Sounds kind of bad to say. You don't look at it in the perspective where it's just like, all right, let's turn to slide one. Let's review this footage to see what happened.
Well, I'm a nerd. I don't know.
Well,
but
I guess
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
A lot of men approach their work the same way they would approach sex too. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to approach sex the same way I would approach like an analysis or my doctorate. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, I think it all, not to answer for him, but to give my take on that, I think it all depends on the individual. I think like a lot of men are taught to prioritize their sensations and their feelings first. Sex is about you, you know what I mean? It's not so much about the woman, it's about you getting what you need out of the situation. So once you unpack that, it also depends on the individual too. Like, yeah, you can talk to, some men are honestly comfortable with getting criticism. Some people don't like to be even criticized on what they wear, on what they do at work, let alone be criticized in the bedroom either, even if it is constructive. So you have to also be aware, are you a type of person that can take feedback and run with it? Or are you going to take it personal and get defensive too? You might be like, fuck you. You know what I mean? You don't know how to do it right. It's your box is trash. That's the reason why you didn't come. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's just like, I guess at that point, you just really don't like sex, because it's just like, if you're not willing to enhance the moment and to create an experience, then you really don't appreciate what sex is or what true intimacy is. So I think
said
there's
that'll
a
be
difference
different
there.
for
So
everyone,
Charlie,
though.
let me
It's gonna be
let me
different for
add let me
everyone.
add to that. I think for me, at least back then, I didn't know what what the experience even looked like. I mean, for me, I thought they were having a great time, and it
You're like, get off of me. You're having fun, right?
It looked good, like I never like got any feedback, from a girl like, oh my God, that was terrible or anything like that. I don't know what they said, behind my back, to their friends or whatnot. That could be a conversation they have with their friends. But if a girl ever came up to me and tell me like, hey, that was actually horrible, I wish you did more in bed or whatever, like that was not, a woman never said that to me. So maybe that's a conversation that needs to happen more between men and women. Because when I was growing up, like I said, I didn't fully understand what it takes to actually even to make a woman come. And one thing I also learned at an older age is also the woman also have to actually know her body, because it's not, regardless of what I do, sometimes the way, like things about your body that actually can also enhance your chance of coming as well. So I think there's a combination of what men, and also there's a responsibility on also the woman as well. I think it's a team effort that kind of goes into that. And correct me if I'm wrong, ladies. I'm not, if that comment is off far left, let me know. But that's kind of what I
my 2 cents in there as well. As far as toys, like I'm also referring to toys for men, like not even for toys. We already assume that men would be using the toys on the women. No, I'm talking about toys for dudes. Like dudes aren't necessarily going to sex shops like, yeah, I want that blowjob machine right there. Some guys are, oh yeah, I want that rubber doll right there. I'm gonna have some fun with that. But there's a huge market for silicone dolls now. Like people are spending $3,000 for a dolly they can pound away on and put in the closet and call it a day. And I ain't saying that. There is a market for men too. But I feel like the sex shops in particular are more geared towards women. Probably why they're so successful now, because it's kind of like an openness to like, hey, a woman can go and buy a toy and she won't be ridiculed. But if a man goes and buys a toy, he's gonna get. If I went to Chunky's house and I found a blowjob machine under his bed, I'm gonna be like, yo, Chunks, like, what's going on, bro? Like, what's good?
First of all, why the fuck you in my closet? Like, who goes to someone's house and goes in their closet? I
was putting my jacket away. What you mean?
Why not put it in like the community closet with their jackets? Like, what?
He said on your bed. He was very specific on where to find it in your house.
Oh, so like this goes back to like the last episode where he's like the other dude in this non-existent like universe where like it's a threesome.
Yeah. But just to throw it out there, Glenn, there are toys for men that are meant to be used in combination with a woman as well, right? So there are, there's some companies that actually make sets of toys, right? There's a device that you use that may have some vibrations, a ring that has a vibration thing to it.
And there's like the
and
little
there's also
bullets, like the mini bullets, so you both can feel it. And then there's also the ones that like, I think they like insert, but they like go above. I don't know. I haven't used that personally, but
yeah. That one's nuts. That one's
nuts. Thank you.
I'm learning something about Drake tonight, bro. I know
yeah. Well, luckily,
he's out there.
Look, my wife she's an artist. A bunch of companies have sent her products in the mail. And obviously, it wouldn't be proper for her to draw or do it without actually putting it to a test drive. So I'll say that.
All right, well, fellas out there, aim to make your woman happy. If your aim is to please, that's what I'll say. If your aim is to please, there's several ways you can do it. Sometimes everyone's different, right? It may, some women I've experienced did not get anything from clitoral stimulation at all. So there is a part of having a good understanding of sexual health. Everyone's different. Not everyone's the same. It's really hard to write a paper on this because everyone is different. So it's about understanding your partner. Nothing wrong with using toys too, if it helps. Once I understood there was a difference between coming and orgasm for women, I was like, all right, listen, there is a difference and you got to know this. But since we're on the subject of men's performance, I want to throw this one out there, particularly because we have brothers on the pod. We are the Diaspora's podcast. Our men, we're now leaning into the legend of the Great Black Dingus. Are Black men truly the sexual powerhouses as often characterized, rumored, and depicted in media. And I want to go to the ladies on this real quick first, then jump to the fellas. But from your experiences, if they've been with Black men, is all the hype true? Yes or no?
I guess I'll go. And it's not always true because, like I said, I have experienced brothers with no power behind their house and with damn near micro peen. So, no. And also, we talked about this earlier in the episode before. I should have talked about a myth that they always say, like, the skinny guys are be slanging. That's a lie. So it's a lie. Yeah, I'm done.
The skinny guy.
What skinny guys she's running into, because that hasn't been my experience, but different strokes, different folks. I feel like, you know, it's some I don't want to say what I was gonna say, but
say
it. Say it.
Let her out of the cat.
I think there is a stereotype that all brothers know what they're doing, and like my fellow sis said, it's not necessarily true, but I think this is why we see a bit more of interracial dating. And that's not to say, you know, that's one's preference, but I definitely understand why more people do it, because, you know, they find that other people of other races just do it better, or do it better in a way that they like or they prefer, so to speak. But I'm gonna say, I think as far as powerhouse goes, I think you just have to come across a well sexually experienced person to really like hit all points on your sexual needs. But that's just me.
Takes on that?
I agree with both. Especially with what Raina said, you gotta have like the powerhouse part. You gotta just find somebody that's sexually experienced in that realm. But I also think it's also finding somebody that's comfortable enough to explore all the parts of somebody else, and patient, because you gotta have patience to have sex, for me, especially if somebody's not comfortable. So yeah, that's it.
All right, let's bring it over to the brothers now that you've heard it. I mean, is it fair to us to say that we are the, I guess, paragons of sexual prowess? This is like, where do you guys think that rumor came from, or a myth? Or if it is a rumor or a myth, what do you guys take on that?
Right, Chunks.
Oh, damn, you put me in the house. Cool, whatever. First of all, I think it was said about preference. So interracial marriage, or not marriage, interracial relationships and stuff like that. So me being who I am, I'm not out here like, oh, well, like I've only been with a woman. So I don't know how other races do it. So I can't speak to that. So I know how I do it. I don't ask in the group chat like, oh, how you fucking your wife tonight? Like, nah, like, that's not what I do. So it's just like, for me,
I guess we'll rephrase it then. Has your race, do you think your race has played a part in your sexual experiences?
I'm gonna get to what you're saying. I'm just making fun out of it.
Yeah.
So as the Black race, we do things a lot better as a whole, no matter what it is. Better rhythm, better understanding, better comprehension. We, not to say we're the superior race, but we're head and shoulders above most, and it's not to be an asshole. We just have a different understanding and appreciation for things. So it's not surprising where you have these movies or the truth that Black men do it better. Then then you break that down as in Black men of like what ethnicity, right? So then there's a different conversation. Are they Jamaican? Are they Nigerian? Are they mixed with Black and Puerto Rican? Are they mixed with Black and white? End of the day, it all falls into that Black category, which to me is a superior category when it comes down to sex, because I am in that category. So I'm going to speak truth to the game. And it's just like, yes, I haven't seen a movie or know of a movie like, oh, well, you know, Johnny's got good dick. It's like, still got a group back with a Jamaican dude. There isn't a movie like 50 Shades of Grey. The dude had to use his money and toys and whatever else he did in that to make it better. every movie that you see with a black man doing something in the sexual realm, it's just him, just straight up, just kicking the door down, doing it the way that the woman prefers, or doing it his way. I really don't know any mainstream movies that show a different race. So that's my take on that.
Yeah, I guess to echo what Chunky said, I mean, it's hard. I've never been to another race man's bed and see how he's knocking boots. So I can't really speak on that. But if I have to say, do I think black men are the powerhouse of the bunches? I would say yes. I mean, even when I went to Jamaica, like to your point about Jamaica, I think there are women who fly from the States or from other country who go to Jamaica. And I think they have a desire. It's like the Asian fetish, right? The Asian woman fetish with men. It's like there are women out there flying, just want to hook up with a black man. And I think especially if you're single, I think it does play into your as an advantage, actually, because you pretty much kind of pick, you have your selection, I think, among all the races, because everyone have this perception of what a black man is. And I think you kind of, and it's really up to you to prove that to be true or not, I guess. And they can tell from their personal experience with that person. But yeah, so I will just kind of echo what Chunky said and say yes to that question.
I can go quickly. I mean, I try to not really subscribe to any one group of people. Just I try to not speak to that. I mean, also my mother's Puerto Rican, so I guess I got Puerto Rican blood flowing through my veins, so I can't Mr. Wi-Fi is in the building. So yeah, I think it's all individual. I think it's all individual. I don't know if I would say again, I've also never been with a man, so of any type, so I wouldn't know how that works, but I would assume just like anything, right? At the end of the day, we're kind of all human beings, come in different shapes and sizes. From what I've learned from the ladies, especially Nigel Red, that she's experienced, quite the she's seen some men of different sizes. I'll say that.
Quite the salad bar.
Yeah, so I guess she's probably proved that isn't true, right? Very eloquently.
It's fake news.
Oh man.
Yeah, but you also say you've never been with you've only been with black men, right?
Yeah, I've only dated like men in the diaspora. So
yeah. So I mean, it could be worse elsewhere. I mean, you think you had it bad.
Really could be, but I mean, as small as them dicks were, I don't really think that it could get that worse.
Damn.
That's like, I appreciate your honesty, but like,
Look,
did you
man,
just tell them
can't-
like, yo, your dick is too small. Like, can you exit stage left?
Okay,
please?
so like one time,
For real.
I just was like, yeah, I'm really tired. And I'm really
Okay, so you was nice. You was nice about it.
No,
Well,
He
I
can't control
I
that,
don't-
man.
I
He
don't
can't
ever
control
want
that.
to like bruise a man's ego. Like that's not who I am as a person.
Yeah.
But it's fact.
I know,
But he
but
is listening
I
to this
just
right
would
now. It's
hate-
like, man, is that me?
I just would hate for it to like him be like feel really shitty about himself, because I mean it's nothing he can do to fix it. So it's not like it's like a character flaw or it's like something that is like, okay, like I can go work out to get a bigger dick. Like you
Man,
can't.
they got medication now, don't they?
I was gonna
And
say
Dr.
Dr. Miami
does
is
some
offering
surgeries.
yeah.
Dr.
Yes,
Miami
he's
does
offering-
surgeries, but like how much
Thank you.
bigger can it get? Like what's 1 inch
I don't
going
know.
when you already got a small dick?
I think it's thicker. Not,
Oh man.
Is thicker,
You
not
gave away-
bigger?
I wasn't prepared for that one.
Well, can I ask this question?
I'm sorry, I
man?
asked.
Like, is it small for black standards, or was it small? Because let's really unpack it. Then, I'm not saying that you had to experience something as a black man to get what's being asked here, but to be real, being black does give you an edge sexually in some sense, where the expectation is that okay, you're black, so you're hung, or you're black, you got that deep stroke, whatever the case may be. And as opposed to, let's say, if you were an Asian man, you're going to be stereotyped for probably having a small penis. and your lottery may not be as big as if you were Black. You know what I mean? But I also get to what I think all this really means. But I mean, apart from that, it's like, I think originally a lot of this, the stereotype of the Black, you know, the Django, Mandingo warrior is really rooted in racism, to be honest. Like, it's always this idea that the Black man's gonna come, he's a sexual powerhouse, you're sexually inferior to the Black man, he's hung, he's gonna come and rape your wife and things like that. A lot of that was a lot of racist doctrine used to kind of build this kind of narrative against the Black man in particular. Somehow over time, it's been kind of decompartmentalized perhaps into a positive, to where it's like, okay, Black men are these warriors out here slanging everything. And, you know, when it comes to sex, it's really more, it has very little to do with your race, unless race is your preference, of course, but really about the partner, the person that's with you, like how everyone's mentioned the communication piece, you know, of course, physically, how fit are you? Because sex is a sport. So it's just like, you know, reality, race has nothing to do with it, but it's just all these narratives and these kind of depictions that have been used against us, and now we're trying to make it for us. But there's been plenty of times I've been to places. I remember going to a bathhouse in Japan, and I told D, like, I guarantee you have to be nude in the bathhouse. So we're in Japan, in a Japanese bathhouse. Traditionally, you have to be nude. There's no clothes, there's no robing, you're walking around naked.
Yes.
At the moment me and D walked into that bathtub, yo, everyone's head just did a 360. Like, yo, I want to know if it's true. Is he really slanging? And I guarantee you, it's a part of the race that's been kind of packed into us, I feel like, honestly. But that's not necessarily the case. Don't think because you're Black that you're going to be slinging and all that. You have to really pay attention to
everybody ain't.
The only man I know to turn having a big dick into a history lesson.
Because we got to keep it culture for the people, man. You know? So let's talk about race. Since we're on the topic of race, before we jump into what is good sex, let's ask the ladies, have you ever had a partner of another race? And how would you rate these experiences? Since we kind of unpacked the I guess the end or perception of Black men, have you ever had a partner of another race? And if so, how was it? And would you say that experiences vary based on race, based on your experiences?
Like I've already said, fortunately, unfortunately, I don't know. I've only dated Black men, men from the islands, Nigerian men, that type of thing. So I can't participate.
Child, I got jungle fever, so I don't discriminate.
Amen, sister.
Yeah. And, you know, I think, like Glenn was saying earlier, so in terms of racism and, you know, sexualism, like, you have to think, like, if we're really going to take it back, Black women are used to being at the labor or sexually of white men and being torn from our families and our loved ones. That's just deep embedded in our ancestry. And so it's like, when you have now, there's Black men that prefer white women or Hispanic women or Asian women. And it's like, you know, sometimes I think women have those conversations of like, oh, why is he with her? Like, now it's becoming so much more of a common thing that, you know, I don't want to say no one really pays attention to stuff like that, but the traditional value of keeping it within the same race is no longer a thing. So I think in terms of, you know, dating, like, I've never been on the scope of like, oh, I would never date outside my race, or, you know, so to speak. But I just think men of other races, I don't know, it wasn't like, oh, Hispanic men fuck better than this type of men or anything like that. Like, just those individual experiences, like, they were cool, you know, they did what they needed to do. I was sexually pleased, you know. It just, I think there's coaching that has to be done with men of other races, just because, yes, the Black man may know what to do or like some traditional no-nos, another man of another race may not. So I definitely think there's lessons to be learned there, but I haven't had like necessarily like a horrible experience dating men of other races when it comes to like the sex topic.
Yeah, I've never been opposed to it. It just has never happened for me.
Girl, never say never.
Yeah, you know I'm one to never say never, but it just ain't happened.
Nay, what's your take?
I have experienced men of other races. I color with the whole crayon box. I have no shame in my game. I prefer African American men or men of color. I prefer them, but at the end of the day, I don't know who God's gonna bless me with. So I'm not big on it. My experience, I was disappointed. I'm sorry. At the time that I had the Spanish dude, I was told that Spanish dudes give great fellatio. I had fellatio with my pants halfway on. That was a problem for me. So so my experiences was crazy. I had an Italian, and it was the same energy as the black dude. So, I guess it's different experiences with different people. So it wasn't that big thing. It was a dick is a dick is a dick for me. So
I mean, Italy is close to Africa, so
I mean,
Italy is close to Africa.
What do you say? Italy is close.
I mean, I could have accepted it if he was like Haiti and like Dominican Republic, but nah.
Nah, I'm just
I
saying.
was gonna say there is a history of Moorish people in Spain, so there are some.
This is true.
Yeah, there's some something to that.
Fellas,
Thanks for rescuing me, Dre, because I seemed like I was on an island by myself on that one.
Fellas,
yeah, it did sound crazy at first, but we cleaned it.
I guess, fellas, what's your take? And since we have some interracial marriages here, is there any difference really between races, or is it all the same? A box is a box. What's your take?
Go ahead, Trey.
Yeah, to me, I think it's all the same. I think for me, it's always been about personality. I've never had a preference. I think Nate said it perfectly as far as color and box. I think that applies for me. I think it's only a problem when people are being disrespectful about it, or kind of saying I don't prefer black women, or I think that's where it's kind of an issue for me. But for me, I guess I don't. There's some differences, but I would say for me, it's probably been more about the person than necessarily anything else.
Yep. Yeah, I definitely echo Dre. I have no preference as far as I'm kind of dabbled in all the races here and there. I mean, my wife is Hispanic, so but yeah, it's just the Nigerian thing didn't happen, obviously, but I was looking for it, it just didn't happen for me. So, but as far as like differences between the races, I won't say there was any major differences. Obviously, there's from a sexual standpoint, no. I think it's really just based on your experience and what you are open to do in bed versus really tie back to your race.
My wife is black. Like, there's nothing else to say to that. Like, it's preference at the end of the day. So I'm not against any interracial relationship, any interracial marriage. It's whoever makes you happy with what they give you, whether that be mentally, physically, emotionally, or spiritually. I think all those things still tie into sex, right? So if you're with someone with the long term, I think it was said by Rena, like, you can be with someone that they're bad, but how long is that going to last? It's not. It's good for the moment, but eventually it crumbles. So if you end up finding that Italian guy or Spanish guy from Spain, and you're with them for the long haul, and y'all get married, and they're stroking it right, they're deep stroking it like a Jamaican man, or hitting the walls out like they're Nigerian. It just is what it is, and it's just like someone that makes you happy at the end of the day. That's where I stand. I'm not against any race, or say I did say one race is better than the other, because that's just me being subjective, right? But in all honesty, it's just like do what makes you happy and it keeps you healthy to the day you die. So I would say.
I'll just say on this real quickly, like, I do think sexual experiences will vary based on race, particularly like where they are in the world, because there's different approaches and mindsets to sex. Some people may have a little bit more experience to it. Some people may not have as much. So that's all going to play a part in how it goes down in the bedroom. And there are some cultures that are a lot more conservative about sex. So If you go in from one side where you maybe had access to all these things, you're with someone else of another culture, ethnicity, and they're more conservative, you may have to find yourself really teaching this person what to do. So I feel like, yeah, with races, there's culture, there's history, and that can play a part, but it's very hard to generalize and say that, yes, all Black women are good in bed, all Black men are good in bed. No, it's going to vary from person to person, of course, on what they're physically able to do as well, and what makes it good. And that actually breaks down into the next part, which is good sex is 80% emotional, 20% physical. That is not real or true or false at this point. I just made that up as a talking point, but let's get into it. What makes good sex good? So we can actually provide the people some solutions here. Let's start off with the ladies on this one again. What makes good sex good in your opinion? Wow. I think that speaks volumes in its own self. I didn't want to put anyone on the spot either. I'm just like, I'm going to see who's going to volunteer first.
Nay, you want to go?
I can start. Communication. And I gotta like you. Now, I guess now at this age, when I was in my 20s, I had the type of box that just on ready go. Now it's just like, if I don't like you, she not gonna wake up. So it's no point in us going forward. So like, I have to have some, like D Black said on the last episode, like I have to have something more than just sex with you. So yeah, it gotta be something there. Communication. And you gotta listen, pay attention. Please pay attention. If you hear me go, that's not a moan. That's like it hurts. Stop. Like, so those are a few things for me. Go ahead, Nigel. Go ahead.
For me personally, I feel like communication, of course, learning each other's cues, being able to talk to each other, all important things that make good sex good, as well as a connection. Like, I can't just be fucking on anybody. So I need to like you, have some type of communication with you, some type of something with you, versus it just being a stranger danger.
I think y'all both said it beautifully. For me, I mean, the name is Sadrina. I need the 3 C's: consistency, communication, and a connection. Like if we don't have 3 hidden, it's not hitting. There will be no meat clapping, meat to meat, none of that. Like, if we're not connected, like I said before, the worst thing you can do is have sex with somebody you don't like. That's miserable. Like, just not gonna do it. At this point, I don't think nobody's lacking for sex. So it's just like, if we not vibing, we not connecting, like, the sex isn't gonna be great. Like, you generally, when you think about great sex, like, you think about your more memorable moments. You have like your ooh in your eyes, like literally have your own Zane sex novel stitchy going on in your head. Like, good sex will make you daydream. Good sex will make you memorize. Good sex will have you stuck in a trance, like, dang, he really did that with his tongue. Like, it'll have you like wanting more. If I don't feel that way about you, if I'm not excited, it's not good. Like, it's not good at all.
Word. A word. A word, Rena. A word.
Ellis, what's your take?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna steal Rena's 3 C's. I think she said it best. I think I think if you have all 3 of those things, I think and both people walk away where you're grabbing for some food or you're grabbing for something to drink afterwards. I think that's all it takes for me.
Oh, yeah, I see Chunky just waiting for me to go. Yeah, I think the most important thing is connection. I think connection really is the foundation of a good sex, and you can really consider good sex as we talk about making love, and making love, I think, kind of ties to someone that you actually like in love with, someone you have strong feelings for, so for me, that's kind of where I like really think about, I make the connection between the two. versus just casual sex. I think that's when casual sex versus good sex or making love there's a big difference there. It's someone that I like really spend time with and we vibe with, and she knows what I like in bed. And, so yeah, so it's really, kind of echoing what everybody else has kind of said prior to this comment. So
if I ain't pulling a hammy, it ain't fun. Straight up.
No, he just didn't drink enough water. Bro.
I had enough water. I had my multivitamin. I had my fish oil. Got 8 hours of sleep. Took a midday nap.
Do that when you get older.
Just did it in college. I was always napping. Anyway,
France, bro.
Straight up. Yeah, connection's important. There's nothing else to add. If the connection's not there, it's not really worth it. I mean, at some point you may have sex with someone that it's just like, hey, like they seem all right on the surface. That 5 or 30-minute chatter end up working for you, but nonetheless, that's still a connection, that's still a vibe, and then that just sails you through. So that's it.
All right. So all I say on this one is basically, I think definitely great points, everyone there, especially Rena with the 3 C's. But I think another part to that also is just your openness. Basically, there's no one equipped with good sex in their program. You know what I mean? It's something that you have to work. You have to work for it. You know what I mean? You have to probably take the time, really pay attention to what's going on when you're active. And if you can read a book, learn some new tricks or whatever, be willing to experiment, open up, I feel like all that will aid. And not only in a good performance right then and there, but an overall healthy sexual lifestyle. The more knowledge you have, the more understanding you have, I think the better the outcome will be, essentially. And that's my take on it. And I kind of wanted to wrap up on these 2 points here. Like I know this is a big one when it comes to identifying a relationship. And on this point, I love him or her, but the sex is trash. Have you ever been in a relationship where everything was good except the sex? And how did you manage this relationship? Did you have to call it quits? Did you stick through it? Since we're actually talking about these things, let's actually put it into practice. So let's start off with Nay on this one.
Okay. I've never been in a situation where I had to end a relationship because sex was bad, but I did have to end a relationship because the final straw was we were not having as much sex as I would have liked to have. It was great. And then when we did have sex, it just wouldn't be enjoyable because I was already over it. So no, I've never had an experience where I had to break up with somebody because they had bad sex. I'm gonna be honest with you. Sometimes I test drive the car before we even buy it. So we don't even have to get there. But for the most part, no. If we not having none, then that's a problem. And we gonna have to talk about how we gonna be friends and stuff.
Friends.
If Nigel read, you want to go next on this one?
I have been in a situation that the sex was trash, but I really liked the person and it didn't work. And I mean, we also only had sex like twice or 3 times because I was just like, it's not going to get better. Like, why do we keep trying?
Lee, he didn't listen to the 3 C's, I see.
No. Rena and I are very close, but we are not the same person.
Rita, what's your take?
I think I've only done that once in my life. That was my longest relationship to date when I was younger. And I think that was just me being in like emotional dependency with that person. So it was like I didn't know how to break the cycle, but I wasn't sexually happy for a long time. But it's like when you're in a relationship with somebody for so long, you just kind of go with the motion and go with the flow. But it's like after so long, how like you can't keep pretending that, you know, the problem doesn't exist. So when it comes to like not having sex, it's now been a couple weeks, y'all live together now, a couple weeks is like a month or two, like, bro, spider webbing down here. Like, yes, somebody gotta go. And so I think after exactly that situation, I kind of just told myself, never again will I be in a situation to where I have to be confined, I guess, to bad sex, or like it's just not doing what it's supposed to do. So, you know, nobody wants to be stuck in a situation that they're not happy. So
Anything you'd like to add on this before we wrap it?
I'll say I don't know if that was necessarily the reason why I ended the relationship, but that definitely played one of the factors. I don't know if I think on paper everything else kind of worked perfectly, but just when it came down to the deed, we were just not in alignment. And I do think that that's a really important factor in kind of a long-term relationship with anyone. So I wouldn't say that that was the reason why I broke up with them, but that definitely played a factor. And I would say if you're in a relationship where you're like that, you know, try to fix it, but if not, you know, move on. You know, I think that's a really important thing to not be stuck with someone who's not trying to take the effort to get you where you need to go.
Yeah, I guess to add to that, when I was younger, especially like in college, even though I was like kind of like, you know, out there, you know, going out all the time, when I was looking for a relationship, actually I tend to go for girls who are less experienced, you know, who are not out there. So when I did obviously those girls who maybe I'm like the first guy they've been with or the second guy, you know, obviously they're not as experienced. So for me, like it's really kind of tied to the feelings because I actually like the person. So it was more of kind of like learning through, you know, kind of because I knew I was that person at one point, you know, when I first started having sex. So for me, it wasn't really, I didn't value that part of it as a big like a deal breaker at that point. But like we broke up because of other issues. It wasn't due to the sex part. So but yeah, but I won't call it maybe bad sex. It was just, you know, immature, like in experienced sex, I guess, on a experienced sex, early stage sex, you know, and we kind of alluded to this as well, like communication, right? So there was a lot of communication with that individual that we talked about like some of the stuff that we willing to try and do, stuff like that. So yeah, you just have to be open and know what, you know, what is important to you. If sex is a major part of a relationship, you know, then you have to value that and make sure to, you know, talk to your partner about that. And if nothing changed, then you may have to, you know, break up with them. But if you value other part of the relationship outside of the sex, then, you know, if it's something you can kind of grow as a couple together on, then that's something I think is willing to, I think people can get better in that space. So if you want to be patient with them. So yeah, that's kind of my piece.
My thing is the ass is trash and the dick is doo-doo. Just fucking communicate. Like, like I don't think it's fair to like string someone along like, oh, I can try to make this work when you know that it's not going to make it work. And I think it's a maturity thing. I didn't play that game. I didn't have people play that game with me because it's just like we're wasting time with one another where you can find someone you actually want to be with that actually hits your spots correctly. And everyone does something different. So my thing is, it's just that I didn't have that issue because I was at the age in college, I was more willing to talk. Just like, I don't like this. This is not going to work. And I'm going to end up hurting your feelings, just keeping you around. And if it was done to me, like, hey, you don't seem like you're enjoying this. If you think my dick is doo-doo, that's fine. That's whatever. That's your preference. So I'd rather not waste your time so you can find the right person. And it's not a pride thing. It's just a maturity thing. So it's easier to step out and find something else than it is to waste 6, 7, 8 months or an entire year trying to make it work. So that's my take on that one.
All right. And then old fashioned, I'll just say this, like, relationship is work and sex is a part of that work. And I would say, don't think that you're automatically going to be able to please your partner. Like, understand it may require some training. And as long as you're in a relationship where the communication is healthy enough to where you can actually express that, then I think you're in the right steps to finding what makes your sex so great, because everyone's standards are going to vary depending on their preference and what actually makes their toes tingle. Hint, hint, thoughtful angels. So it's just like, I have to say, keep working at it. Healthy dialogue, healthy communication. Keep yourself fit. Trust me, fitness helps in that sense as well. A lot of our problems could be physical, to where we're just not taking care of ourselves enough to where we can even reach that point. So, definitely monitor that as well. But with that said, we definitely have said a lot in this discussion. Thank you all for coming back and chiming in on part 2. For more content or to learn more about the podcast, feel free to check us out at Jerk Your Love Call a Pod on Instagram. But more importantly, if you want to check out our guests today, Nigel, Red, and Rena, can you just tell us how our listeners can follow you and find your podcast out there right now?
You can tap in on all social media at Thoughtful, yes, THOTFUL Angels. Our podcast is everywhere: Spotify, Breaker, Apple. You literally can get plugged in from our link on our Instagram page. Yeah, tune in because we are coming up with a new episode at the end of the year, if not the top of the year, new merch. It's an exciting time to empower the thoughtfuls.
Yes, and you can find us there, like she said, on Thoughtful Angels, and our individual handles are at _ it's Sadrina and at _ Nija Red, NAIJARED.
That is spelled.
I love the spelling. Love it.
He has a thing for letters too.
Clearly.
So stay tuned for the outro coming right up to learn additional ways to reach us, our guests, and send us your feedback. Be sure to like, share, follow, and or subscribe both podcasts, because we brought this to you. If you're just hearing about Thoughtful Angels for the first time, do them a favor, show them some JJC love. And if you like what you're hearing, don't like what you're hearing, feel free to leave us a review on your preferred streaming platform of choice. Another shout out to Nate at Feelings, the online thrift store. So definitely check her out in this cold cuffing season. If you're by yourself, you need something to snuggle up on, a nice little blanket or a nice little sweater, she got you covered. As always, see you all again next Wednesday. Stay cultured. Peace and love. Bless.
Peace.
Peace.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
And that concludes today's episode, but that doesn't mean the conversation has to end. As a matter of fact, feel free to check us out at JJC Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter for our post-discussion question following the release of this episode. If you are a Black or minority business owner or professional that would like to be featured on the Rep Yours segment of our show, or a listener with some general feedback for the podcast panel, feel free to shoot us an email at jjcpod@gmail.com. As always, likes and comments are always appreciated. Be sure to subscribe or follow to be notified when the next episode releases. And until then, stay safe, stay blessed. Peace.